What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode here, the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts on the side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Side Guys, Tad the Side. And Tad, how'd you feel about that wild card weekend? I think we had every team except for the Los Angeles Rams. No, actually, no, they ended up winning too. So yeah, I think every team, the home team, won.
Yeah, it sucked.
Okay.
And not for that reason. I don't care if like home, away, whatever. We had one game that was within 10 points.
Oh, no, my mistake. Washington won. So Washington was the only away team to win. My mistake.
Like I said, I don't care. Home, away, that's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on the scores. God, those were awful.
Washington Tampa Bay was a good game.
Like I said, there was one good game out of what? That's 5, 6. I'm not good at math. But point being is, okay, there you go. Point 5 would have been interesting to say. Impossible. Doesn't matter. This is why I don't run the brackets in March. Point being is, no, all those games were blowouts. They were terrible. They weren't fun to watch. I don't even think I watched a complete game outside of the Tampa Bay game, to be totally honest.
That's fair. I think, yeah, Saturday was the biggest letdown. Like, I think most people expected that the Chargers-Houston game may be a little bit closer, but yeah, that ended up being a blowout. I don't think anybody expected Pittsburgh-Baltimore to be a blowout. Be a close game. We both predicted a blowout in that one in favor of Baltimore. Yeah, Saturday's game, I think a lot of people expected Buffalo to blow them out too. But yeah, the Eagles-Packers game, I expected that one to be a little bit closer. That one ended up siding a little bit far in favor of the Eagles, obviously. Washington-Tampa Bay was close, not as high scoring as we were expecting. But yeah, that Monday night game, that was an absolute dud by Minnesota. It just raises a lot of questions.
You called that. I went the other way. I was like, no, this is gonna wake them up. Ooh, no, it did not.
I think I put in the LAFB Slack. I was like, what do the Lions and the Rams both have in common? They both held the Minnesota Vikings to only 9 points. And so, yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, definitely a lot of questions are going to be heading into the offseason surrounding the expectations for Sam Darnold's contract now, because I don't think he's coming back to Minnesota.
So funny anecdote about that is I did not call them before people start commenting like, really, you need people to do that for you. I had the apartment maintenance. People? Hold on. I had the apartment maintenance people come in.
Those people, yes.
And, replace the batteries in my smoke detector. One of them was a Giants fan. And so he noticed, all my Rams memorabilia up. So we were talking football and he just goes, have you noticed the Vikings were doing so well until I was just like, yeah, like a really like thick New York accent. He goes, they signed Josh Daniels. What? Not Josh Daniels. Damn it. What's his name? Danny Dimes. Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. Jesus. It's like, who the hell is Josh Daniels?
Daniel Jones. I don't know.
Because I was like, there's Josh McDaniels.
This is what happens.
Jaden Daniels. And then clearly you're trying to talk about Daniel Jones. So I was like, who of all those people?
This is what happens when I take
completely different too. I was like, what is going on here?
I blame my family for that. This is what happens when I'm not on the mic for 2 weeks.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, that was, yeah, please. I have no idea who the hell you're talking about.
I'm a pitcher coming off the, 60-day IL. You got to give me some time to warm up the arm here, coach. The bottom line being is, if you actually track it, that does track, is when they signed Josh Daniels, a.k.a. Daniel Jones. I mean, is Daniel Jones just a bad luck charm?
It could be, but yeah, I think, I brought this up before. One of the episodes I recorded without you was just that, everything went right for Minnesota this year. So it's like, you wonder whether it's going to replicate year over year. So it's like Sam Darnold had success in this sort of vacuum, but it's like, will that extend past this? That's, like I said, it's going to be the interesting part of the offseason as far as like, will he get a huge contract because he played fantastic through the regular season, but he had absolute duds when it absolutely counted. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see.
I'm sorry, when you did what without me?
You already knew I did 2 episodes without you,
At
which were a lot more
birthdays.
easier. Which were a
You
lot more
son of a
easier. I didn't have to
bitch.
wait so long to get you into the podcast and not have to worry about Josh Daniels' mistakes.
I saw that YouTube dropped our rating to PG. I wonder what the fuck happens.
Yeah. Increase the audience in that sense too. But guys, yeah, we're getting into more draft coverage now. You're talking about the offseason here, obviously, with Sam Darnold free agency. That's still a while to come here, but we are shifting into draft mode from our fantasy football. The season is done, unfortunately, but I mean, yeah, we're shifting now into draft mode. We'll be doing our live stream for the NFL Senior Bowl, which will be happening in the first week of February. But guys, talking about, the playoffs here, talking about everything here, this is a great time to partner with our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. I mean, it's a very easy way to get into some betting. You can bet on the NFL playoffs, as mentioned. You got the college basketball going on for both the men's and the women's side. You got the NBA action going on right now. We got the All-Star break coming up pretty soon. You got NHL hockey going on, the Australian Open for tennis. You can bet on that as well. Tons of things to be betting on, guys. Get into the action. Use our promo code. That promo code is DESAI. DESAI. You could double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more, up to $500, courtesy of our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. You can use the website, guys. Very easy to use, very user-friendly there, as well as the apps, both on Apple and Android devices. Just as easy, just as friendly, just as user-friendly as well. Very simple to navigate and get your bets in and make some money this week, this year, however, whenever you want your money, essentially. But guys, get into the action. A lot of things to be betting on. Get to the action with our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. That promo code, once again, is DESAI, DESAI. Double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more, up to $500, thanks to our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. So, Tad, as mentioned, we're shifting into one of your favorite topics, and that is the NFL draft. So, I mean, in today's episode, you see the actual graphic down there, the little headline. We'll be doing a mock draft in today's episode. We're not going full 32, Tad, so,
damn it,
settle down just a little bit. We're only going top 10. Me and Tad are both very early in our draft research as far as guys that we're looking at. So, I mean, this is going to be very surface level intel, giving you more about situations that the teams are in as far as why they'll go in a certain direction for certain players. Tad does not know my picks. I did not know Tad's picks, so this will be a complete surprise when we give each other our respective picks here. There are no trades in the top 10, so this is just straight. If they stay where they are, these are who they'll potentially pick at this point in the season as far as what our predictions are going to be. Obviously, as the season goes along, we'll give you more intel. We'll have more draft episodes for you, and we'll probably give you a more in-depth top 10 or possibly even full 32 mock draft as well, guys. But we want to give you a little bit of a preview. What are sort of the, prevailing stories out there as far as which players are kind of targeted in the top 10? What are some teams looking at as far as potentially holes that they want to address here? So, Tad, I'll pass it to you here first. We're locked in with the Tennessee Titans, the AFC South rivals of yours. I know you actually hate the Jaguars the worst, right? Out of everybody in the division, or is it the Titans?
Oh, God, that's good. No, it's definitely Jaguars.
Okay.
I struggle between Titans and Texans. Probably Texans, just because I personally hate the city of Houston, so I have some personal ties in that one.
Okay, got it.
Very close third is Tennessee. What's the other one left? Oh, no, I guess that's 3. There you go. Yeah, so,
I was about to say, you rank the Colts below all that. That's how much you hate the Colts right now.
The gap between, 2 and 3, though, or 1 and 2, pretty big. Like, the Jags are far and away my most hated team.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess, we got the Tennessee Titans on the clock here with the number 1 overall pick. What direction do you think they'll go here with the first overall pick?
With the, damn it, I should have gotten the sound effects set up. Oh, well, we'll do that for the next one. Yeah. With the first pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans select Tyler Loop. Do you know who he is?
No.
Kicker, Arizona.
Is that actually his name, or are you messing up his name like Josh Daniels?
I'm pretty sure it's Tyler Loop. Hold on, let me.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I was panic typing because I realized I forgot to look up someone for that bit. So thank you for filling in the beginning.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure it's Loop. It's either gonna be him or Ryan Fitzgerald. Either way, you're gonna hate one of those names by March. Ryan Fitzgerald out of?
I have no idea.
Florida State. I'll take the special teams, guys. Anyway, well, I'm looking up to make sure that's Tyler Loop's name. I'll get your initial reactions. I think that the Titans are locked to take Cam Ward for several reasons. One,
Okay.
I think the Titans were a prime candidate to go after a veteran like Sam Darnold, or at this point, maybe even Kirk Cousins, because Brian Callahan recognizes, if I get a vet or a guy that knows his stuff in this system immediately, like kind of like a rookie who's seen a lot of snaps, like a guy like Joe Burrow, who had all that time to develop in college. He knows that like instant success can be there. I don't think he's very interested in the slow rebuild. So I think that they'll go with Cam Ward because Shedeur Sanders, while he is good, we've only had a very small fraction of him against FBS opponents.
Fair.
Cam Ward's been doing it for 4 years now and succeeded at every single level he went to. So I think that, you got the experience, you got the guy with the better, or stronger arm in Cam Ward. And let's not forget, reports started leaking almost as soon as the Titans were locked in that they preferred Ward. Good God, that's going to be tripping me up all offseason, over Sanders. And I like that decision.
No, it's fair. Like we talked about, it's very early in our draft research, but I've watched tape on both Ward and Sanders. And of the two quarterbacks, Ward is my preferred candidate. I still don't like either as far as first round talent this year. But I mean, that's like we talked about. That's what we talked about this
night. Like you would not take a single one in the first round. That's surprising.
Ward, I think, is still first round talent. I don't think Sanders is first round talent.
Borderline, kind of like Bo Nix last year. Like like outside the top 10, like, yeah, okay, I could see it. Or like Kenny Pickett is another one. Like, at the Steelers got him at like late teens. So it wasn't like
they got him at 20, I think, right?
Oh, there you go. So they weren't giving up that much. Like Sanders in that range, I would say first round, sure.
It's possible. Yeah, I could see it happening. But yeah, just looking at the tape, I mean, like I said, still very preliminary. I think I need to dive into a little bit more. But yeah, if I were to pick a quarterback to sort of be the future of my franchise now, especially number one overall, then yeah, I'd probably side with Cam Ward too. But it's funny that you bring up the whole veteran aspect because that's the route I'm taking here. It's like, I think Tennessee will pursue that route. So I think number one overall pick will go Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter, the cornerback / wide receiver. I think they go in that direction because, like you said, I think the prevailing thought is that they're going to move on from Will Levis because it just didn't seem to work out there. But I think they push their quarterback decision to 2026, and I think they want to see maybe if Willis can sort of take that Bryce Young route where it's like they sat him for a while, they put in Andy Dalton, and then he was able to sort of come alive again second half of the season. He's now, I think, looking a lot more stronger as the starter now for the Carolina Panthers. And so there's a lot of good veteran options out there. Like you said, with Brian Callahan, experienced offensive coordinator, he's got some good pieces on that offense there. That's like you bring in a veteran, I think they should be okay. I think the better side of that football in Tennessee is their defense there, but I think their offense struggled so much, which led to the defense finding some struggles there. So it's like you got guys like James Winston, Cooper Rush look good in Dallas. Zach Wilson, you have to remember, he's the odd man out in Denver now.
I'm so sorry. These are good free agents that are out there
as a stopgap solution. I'm not saying these are long-term answers, but to help to
let that. I mean, Jameis is barely that. We don't know what Cooper Rush is.
I think he looked pretty good in Dallas. I'm not saying he's the best, but it's serviceable. Like I said, as far as stopgap solutions, these are not bad. Zach Wilson, like I mentioned, Marcus Mariota. How about a reunion with the former Tennessee Titans quarterback there? Justin Fields, I think he had a good season in Pittsburgh.
That's fair. That's an interesting
one.
And
you already brought up his name, but Sam Darnold, his stock has dropped after those 2 games. So I think he'll come on the cheap. And so it's I think if Brian Callahan can see what he did in Minnesota, it's as a stopgap solution to help Will Levis learn a little bit there. It's that's not a bad sort of route to take. You can get him pretty cheap now.
You know what I'm hearing? Welcome to Tennessee, Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, it is a possibility. It is a possibility out there. But yeah, getting back to the pick here, I think they get Hunter here because it gives the Titans flexibility because we already talked about it. Treylon Burks is an absolute bust. I mean, they traded away A.J. Brown. That just didn't work out in their favor. I know they have Calvin Ridley. He's been looking good at times. And they had that secondary guy, Nick Westbrook-Akine or whatever. He had that streak of 6 straight games, I think, with a touchdown. It might have been
Yeah,
7
but the weird thing is, like, in all those games, that was his only catch of the game.
Yeah, it was like one of his 2 receptions
so
in the
weird.
entire game. So it's like very streaky with him, but still like sort of dependable, right? At least he's scoring touchdowns for you. Unlike, Deontay Johnson. What the hell happened with that guy at the end of the
just got
season?
released again.
Released from the Texans again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know what happened there. So at least Westbrook's on the roster there. But I think it gives the Titans flexibility because they can play him in the defense and play him as a quarterback. They can play him as a wide receiver, which I think is a greater need there. Or if they find a way, the Titans need to try anything. Maybe they go that route where it's like you can play him on both sides of the football and just see how it all works out. I don't think it'll work out in that way. I still need to go to more tape as far as Travis Hunter is both a player as a defensive back and a receiver. But I think just having that versatility, Titans just need any bodies right now to sort of fix that team. And so, yeah, I think Travis Hunter would sort of fit that mold.
I don't hate it. I definitely see your side of the argument, partially because that's the exact argument I'm about to make when the team I have taking Hunter takes him. Yeah, and again, to clarify for listeners and viewers, we will eventually do a mock draft with trades.
Yes.
We are not doing trades right now. So it wouldn't, if they do decide to go the route you're talking about, which is sign a vet, get some competition in for Levis, kick the can down the road. I don't love that decision, but if they do make that call, I think Titans will eventually trade out for someone who's trying to leapfrog everyone else. Raiders. But if we're forcing the Titans to stay here and you aren't taking a quarterback, this pick makes a lot of sense. Plus, it's flashy and it's a good marketing thing. Cause who do the Titans have to market right now?
Yeah, not really anybody.
We got Tajay Spears,
Tony Pollard, I guess, kind of. Calvin Ridley, maybe.
Yeah, those Titans PR people are like, get us somebody.
Yeah. I know you sort of jokingly said the Raiders, but based on all the reports we're hearing out of Dallas, if Dion does take the job at Dallas, it's like, don't rule out Dallas making a big move to go to number 1 to draft Shedeur. That is possibly
that would be draft day shit. If Hard Knocks offseason does not, I don't even care if there is no offseason Hard Knocks. People just need a Hard Knocks crew on call. Just that entire 1 month before the draft.
Yeah, no, it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out as far as who's going to be the new Dallas head coach.
I would pay UFC main event level pay-per-view type of money to watch that entire drama unfolds.
It'll be very, very interesting.
Oh my God, I would eat so much popcorn.
I would be eating anything. I'd just be glued to the TV.
I need a train cap in those videos with the dogs that know how to open the fridge. Could be dangerous though. He's already fat enough.
Yeah, you don't want that. All right, now let's get to number 2 overall. This is where the Cleveland Browns are slotted. So what do you think the Cleveland Browns do?
It's funny because had you asked me that question a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I would have been like, I don't know, Abdul Carter probably, maybe offensive linemen because God, that offensive line, I know they were banged up, but they were so bad this year. And then that weird Deshaun Watson story broke where it's like, hey, he retore his Achilles and he might miss next year too. Right after the big restructuring by Cleveland, where I believe after next season, they can cut him pretty much free of charge.
I think so, if I remember correctly.
Something like that. So just the timing of both was very odd. So now the big question is, do they go quarterback? And I think the answer is yes. I've seen a lot of mocks out there where it's like, oh no, it's fine. They'll figure it out. Not really. The list of names you listed off, I even think a lot of those guys, even giving them good gap stop guy, that's high praise for a lot of names on that list. We still haven't been proven that Zach Wilson is actually any good. He had a good preseason against a bunch of backups. So no, I don't think Cleveland is in the position now, especially with Myles Garrett's patience very quickly, very obviously running out. I think they got to swing for the fences here. I think they go Shedeur Sanders.
Thoughts? Any analysis there, or just literally just give the pick?
Well, I mean, he's the second best quarterback off the board. Okay. The Browns need to make a splash, and yes, I think this is a huge reach for him. Sanders is not a top 5 quarterback, but as with many quarterbacks, he's going to get overdrafted. And it's now the big question is, will Dion let him go to Cleveland, or is he going to
That
like
is the big
pull a
question.
drama move? But I think that lure of like be Cleveland's savior, like, oh my God, that will feed into his ego so much. God, Cleveland's going to just wreck him.
No, I completely agree with you. I think they go quarterback here, but yeah, in your situation, you already have Cam Ward off the board. But in mine, I think this is where Cam Ward goes because I mean, like you said, with the news of Deshaun Watson, possibly, most likely, I don't think there's a situation where he plays at all in 2025, but they're saying like there's an outside chance he'll play in 2025. If Cleveland's smart, they won't play him at all in 2025. And also the interesting thing here, Tad, I don't know if you know about this, but Cleveland may investigate the issue with Deshaun Watson because there's a lot of Twitter doctors out there that are saying that based on if he was doing normal rehab, he should not have re-ruptured the Achilles. And so
that's what was so weird. I was like, what were you doing? I think you and I even had off camera had this conversation of like, how does that like I remember asking you, I was like, so like, was the surgery to like re-rupture it? And you were like, no,
yeah, I
it's
remember
not
the
like
first question you asked me
I
was like,
yeah,
was it the
like,
same Achilles? And I was like, yes, it's the same exact Achilles. And so if Cleveland decides to look into it, because they can be off the hook for the entire,
oh,
no,
yeah.
I don't know if the entire contract, but they could be off the hook for a lot of his contract then if they find out that he was doing something outside of the normal rehab process, which is why he re-ruptured the Achilles. And so that's going to be an interesting storyline to look at as we get to the offseason here. But yeah, just jumping back to the pick here, I think they need to find a solution because they know even if Deshaun Watson was healthy, we clearly saw that he's just not the same guy that we saw when he was back with the Houston Texans, back when he was back at Clemson, obviously, too. It's just like he's not that same quarterback. That year off is really paying huge dividends as far as his downgrade in play. And so, yeah, they go with Cam Ward, a proven veteran at the college football level. He played at FCS. He then, like you said, played a couple of years at the FBS level at a very high level. You question a little bit about his, mental fortitude because you have to remember, Tad, in that Pop-Tarts Bowl, he played the first half. He's the one who led the
Oh
comeback in
my
that first half.
God.
And then all of a sudden he decided to sit. And that's why they ended up sort of losing that game. So that's something we could dive into a little bit further down the road here, Tad. But just, I still like the level of play. He's the best quarterback this year so far from what I've seen. But yeah, I think there's a lot of rumors about Jackson Dart possibly entering the conversation as being one of those top quarterbacks. So I have a lot of tape to look into here, but I still like Cam Ward to be the quarterback here, taken number 2 overall by the Cleveland Browns.
You listen to me right now. Not you and Murr, I'm just speaking to the general public. So help me God. If Jackson fucking Dart goes ahead of Kyle McCord in this year's draft, I will lose my shit. Because that is, if Jackson Dart is somehow a top 5 quarterback taken in this year's draft, I don't know. I'll buy a Jackson Dart jersey and wear it all next season. I don't know. Chauncey, think of something.
There you go.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, spoiler alert, me and Tad
It's
are big
January. It is too early for this ridiculous talk.
But yeah, spoiler alert, me and Tad are both Kyle McCord truthers this year. Like, we are huge fans of his, but we'll get into that obviously a little bit later down the road here. But Tad, let's get to number 3. Let's get to the New York Giants at number 3 overall. They had a chance at number 1 overall, but they beat your Colts and they decided to go and slide down the draft order here. So they're picking at number 3. What do you got for the Giants?
So keep in mind, at this point in my draft, Cam's gone, Shedeur's gone. This is likely like worst case scenario for New York. Like they're hoping somehow one of them falls to them. I don't think it will. I think New York is one of those dark horses where they pull, a San Francisco where they just jump up a spot or 2 for the guy they want, right? How far up did you move for Trey Lance?
We moved up from 12, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow. 12-3. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that the Bears? No, I'm thinking the Bears when the Bears flipped with you.
Yeah,
guys.
the Niners were at 3 and the Bears were at the Bears were at 3. We were at 2, and so then we ended up swapping.
So I can see the Giants doing something like that with the Titans or Browns just to make sure. But anyway, going back to the original point. So both quarterbacks are off the board. What does New York do now? They get the best of a bad situation, and this is where I think Travis Hunter goes because that Giants secondary is really, really bad. Hold on, I have some stats here. They only had 4 picks last season. Do you want to guess when their first pick of the season was?
Probably midway through the season, so maybe week 9.
Week 14.
Wow, double digits. Wow, that's pretty bad.
It's bad. Oh, it's real bad. Let's see. Adoree Jackson is going to be a free agent. Deonte Banks, their first round pick from 2 years ago, this cornerback out of Mississippi State, he's not good.
Nope.
Had a pretty solid rookie season. Came back, no good. So they have no one else in this Giants secondary. I think they could go Will Johnson here, and you're going to hear me bring up Will Johnson a lot because I'm a big fan of his. However, I think that him being Will Johnson, missing more than half of this past season, I think people are going to put Travis Hunter above him for this reason as well. While the Giants will like him, it will take a lot of attention away from Malik Neighbors. They cannot keep throwing it to Malik Neighbors. They're going to put that dude 6 feet under before his fourth season, which is kind of what the Giants do anyways. That's what happened to OBJ, but topic for another day. Point being is they need another playmaker in that offense, but they don't need a primary playmaker. So I don't think Travis Hunter will play every drive of the game, but he's a special package guy. That kind of the same argument you made with the Titans. The Giants just need bodies out there on offense. So you got a very solid corner and a guy you can sometimes throw out there on offense.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I want to dive into more of his tape because a lot of people are saying his versatility made him a lot better of a player. But if you look at both individual sides, he's not a top 10 talent at either position. But yeah, I'm very curious to watch more tape on Travis Hunter to see as far as just what's all the hype about. But yeah, as of right now, he's got all the hype. And so, yeah, there's a reason why we're projecting him to go in the top 5. So, Dad, for the New York Giants, I have a very so I have Cam Ward who's already taken, and I have Travis Hunter already taken. But if I were to ask you, Tad, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants in 2025? And they don't make any moves. So it's no free agent signings, nobody in the draft. Who do you think will be a starting quarterback for the Giants in 2025?
Well, I guess not Drew Lock, because that would be easy. Is he a free agent?
So fun fact, Ed, it's kind of a trick question. They would have nobody under center because all of their quarterbacks are free agent right now. So that includes Drew Lock, that includes Daniel Jones, that includes Tommy DeVito.
Well,
all those guys are free agents.
Problem. You mean Josh Daniels?
Josh Daniels, exactly. So they need somebody at the quarterback position because as of right now, they have nobody. So yeah, I think they'll sign some backups here, but I think they go quarterback with this spot. They go with Shedeur Sanders. He ends up being able to use those Giants cleats in actual reality now. I think he'll be the answer here for the New York Giants because, yeah, we talked about it. Drew Lock looked good in that one game against Indianapolis, but outside of that, he's just been very hit or miss. I don't know if he's the long-term answer for the New York Giants. Clearly, Daniel Jones is not. He's now a member of the Minnesota Vikings, obviously, but who knows? Maybe he's going to be somewhere else now, too. But yeah, I think they go with Sanders. They need to get, move the franchise in a different direction, get Malik Neighbors, a more stable quarterback player here. He's an accurate guy. He has good agility. He's not a scrambler, but I think, yeah, Sanders here, they need a quarterback. They go in that direction. I think you and me both in the boat. That's he's not a top 5 pick, but because of the premium of the position and the need, he'll go here number 3.
Yeah, that's dream scenario for New York. Again, is somehow 1 and 2 craziness happens. Maybe the Browns stay put and do feel comfortable with their quarterback situation for some reason.
It's very possible.
And either way, either Cam or Shedeur, I don't even think they have a preference. It's just if either of them fall to them at 3, they're going to be thank God. And they're still going to wait the whole 10 damn minutes.
Oh, of course. Well, it's the Giants. They have to talk up the Giants because it's a big market, right?
Of course. Oh, yeah, big market. Where is the draft this year, by the way?
Green Bay is going to be in Green Bay. So that should be a little bit fun with all the history there.
Oh, those Vikings picks are going to be nice.
That will be very interesting. All right, Ted, let's get to number 4. Let's get to the New England Patriots, who are now on the clock here at the number 4 overall pick. What do you think they do?
I think this is kind of nightmare scenario for them because they're okay, well, we kind of wanted Travis Hunter. And honestly, I think the Patriots are going to trade out of this pick.
Okay.
I do. But I think, okay, again, if we're forcing them to stay there, this was actually great because I made these notes before Vrabel got hired. So now that we know who their next head coach is, which by the way is outside linebacker / tight end, look at Travis Hunter usage, Mike Vrabel, which is a fucking great hire by New England. I was so mad. Anyway, point being is, if anyone understands the importance of pass rush, it's going to be your former outside linebacker of a coach. The Patriots pass rush was awful. They only had, as a team, 28 sacks this year, dead last in the league.
Yeah, not great.
For comparison, Denver finished first. Do you know how many Denver had?
I think like 68 or something like that. It was very
Close,
high 60s.
63.
63, okay.
The leader, 63. Patriots, 28.
Yeah, pretty big disparity there.
Yeah, pretty bad. They were 31st in QB hits this year. So bottom line being is you need to generate a pass rush. Now, I know going offensive line is tempting, and that's why I think they will probably trade like 4 spots down here. But I think, again, if we're forcing them to stay there, Abdul Carter, the pass rusher outside of out of Notre Dame, not Notre Dame. Jesus Christ. Penn State. Wow. Shut up.
Shake off the rust, buddy.
Woo. Like the Titanic being rediscovered here. Why do I keep mentioning Titanic? Anyway,
I really don't.
It's just like where my mind goes for some reason. Sinking ship, drowning, all things I experience on a daily basis. Anyway, much like this segment.
Yes.
Abdul Carter out of Penn State is easily the best pass rusher in this year's class. There's some work to be done. Again, I don't think he's going to be like this dominant force, like coming out as a rookie, but I think he is very clearly the best pass rusher that can be developmentally turned into a top 5 sack getter year in and year out.
Yeah, Ted, and just like Rose, I'm not going to give you space on my door. I'm going to let you sink in this situation with your bit because, yeah.
Not even going to let me freeze to death first. You're just like, see ya.
Yeah, exactly. See ya. So, Ted,
I know you said a whistle.
I know you said that the tempting pick would be offensive line, but I think in my situation, I think they go offensive line. Even with, I took my notes with Mike Vrabel being the head coach of the New England Patriots. It's like, I think he has that mentality of like, you have to remember back his days in Tennessee. It's like they were forefronts of running the ball with Derrick Henry. And so you have to look at that deep offensive line for the Patriots. They had the 4th highest sack percentage in offense, which is based on however many times you attempt to pass. That's how high of a percentage then you're generating a sack from that defense. And so it's like, yeah, they had the 4th highest. They took the 5th most sacks in the NFL as well. So yeah, I think they go offensive tackle here. I think they go with Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU. Like I said, I think they want to emphasize the run. They want to give protection, obviously, to Drake May as well. I don't know who the OC is going to be, but regardless of that, their offensive line was just very bad. I think Campbell's that guy who can be a cornerstone on that offensive line for years to come. He's got the prototypical size and length that you want for an offensive tackle. Combine that just with good power, strong skills as far as being a pass blocker as well as a run grader, run blocker as well. This is a guy that you want at number 4 here. So I can understand the pass rush. That makes a ton of sense. Mike Vrabel, being a defensive guy as well, that can make a lot of sense for them to go in that direction. But I think they address the offensive line with Will Campbell sitting out there.
I like that pick a lot. And I'll tell you why is because I don't be shocked if Cleveland holds on to number 2, but they don't take a quarterback. They take Will Campbell. Like he's my dark horse to like really upset this draft because,
it's really dependent on how the whole draft process goes, right? If he kills it at the combine and stuff like that, then it's like, yeah, I could very much entertain that thought where Cleveland's like, you know what? We need to predict somebody, whoever it is where Will Campbell goes.
Yeah. So I think that, that's a very good pick, especially because for some reason people love pitting Will Campbell against Kelvin Banks. I don't think it's comparable at all. Like Will Campbell is far and away the best lineman in this year's draft. So I like it. Yeah, this makes total sense. And plus Drake May's legit and you got to protect your most valuable asset.
100%. All right, now let's keep it rolling. Let's get to your most hated team in the AFC South. Let's get to the Jaguars here. Number 5 overall. What do you think they do? I think I heard Will Johnson in there. Is that what I heard?
Take Will Johnson, corner of Michigan. I hate him. Now, I'm hoping they don't do this because this would actually be a very, very good pick, which is very un-Jaguars, like I know. Will Johnson is a corner out of Michigan, and if you guys aren't familiar with him, that's mostly because he only played in 6 games this past season. Nothing major. It was a recurring turf toe issue. But still, that's going to give, a lot of teams pause and be like, Now, I still think Will Johnson's a lock for the top 10, but I do think he'll be the second corner off the board after Travis Hunter. Now, with that said, I actually like Will Johnson more as a corner than Travis Hunter. Fair. I think Travis Hunter just goes before because he also has that versatility. The Jaguars really need help. They only had 6 picks as a team last year. And I took a look at their secondary, including upcoming free agents. Tyson Campbell's good. I will give him credit there. Tyson Campbell's good. The rest of that secondary is trash. And Amir, I'm going to take it easy on you. I was going to say name 2. I couldn't even do it. But there is one single guy among the Jaguars corners who you would recognize.
Who I would recognize?
Yes, not including Tyson Campbell.
Oh, dear Lord. Because I think they still have Andrew Wingard, right? But he's a safety. He's not even a corner.
Yes, I purposely left the safeties out because they're actually pretty solid. Is also pretty good. Damn.
Yeah, I don't think I can name anybody else on that Jaguar secondary as far as corners specifically.
There's only one guy I recognize looking at this depth chart, which, by the way, was yesterday, January 14th, before people were like, it was an old depth chart. Because I was like, there's no way it's that same guy. Clicked on his name. Ronald Darby is still in the league.
Ronald Darby is still in the league. Okay.
Jaguar. Use that on the next football grid.
That's not a bad idea.
So bottom line being that Jaguars secondary corners specifically are bad. So getting Will Johnson, arguably the best corner in the draft at 5 it's a good move by the fucking Jaguars.
Tad, it's such a good move because
the one thing they need is more people to cover Anthony Richardson when he overthrows our receivers by 10 fucking yards.
Or shorts them by 5 yards too. That's one of the other things he does. But Tad, I'm going to go with the same exact pick here. Number 5, I got Will Johnson here because you talked about they only had 6 interceptions last year. That was the 3rd fewest in the NFL. They also gave up the most passing yards in the NFL as well, and the 5th most passing touchdowns. I mean, that really speaks about the fact that how bad that secondary is. They've already addressed the front 7 with, good free agent move signings. Also, they addressed it to the draft with Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. So it's like they got some other guys in the front 7.
They could have had Aiden Hutchinson.
They could have. Josh Allen, I will say, though, has gotten better. Trayvon Walker.
Josh Allen is legit. I'm laughing about Trayvon Walker.
No, for sure. But yeah, I think they definitely need to address the secondary here. So yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but I definitely agree. Will Johnson here, number 5. I think that's where the Jaguars go here. Let's get to number 6 because I have a very interesting pick at 6, but I'm curious to see what you think the Las Vegas Raiders will do here at number 6. With both quarterbacks gone, remember. So
I know, yeah.
Yours as well as mine, both the top court, in quote marks, both potential top 2 quarterbacks are gone at this point.
I don't know about you. This was the hardest pick of the top 10 for me. I bounced between like 3 or 4 players here.
It was a little tricky for me, but like I said, once you hear my pick, you'll understand why I went in my direction. But yeah, I'm curious about yours.
I know where you're going.
Okay.
So again, they're stuck here in this version of our draft. I think if this does happen, which is likely, this is a big landing spot for Sam Darnold. I think even with the doubts surrounding him, I could see the Raiders being like, we don't have the capital to move up.
Yeah.
Money, just like toss money to a guy that people would be like, oh yeah, that guy that made Minnesota really good. Like what they need again with the marketing, like God help Vegas's PR people. Who the hell do you market? I guess Brock Bowers, but like
Max Crosby,
Jerron Merrick. He's good. He's good.
He is good, but he's not marketing material good.
Point being. So I think that the Raiders stick with just best available. And honestly, this is a pretty damn good best available. Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. This dude's good. He is legit. Good. And I think now, I know what you're thinking as well, because here's the confusing part. We don't know who the new coach is going to be. So this is a no-brainer if it's a 4-3 coach. Now, if it's 3-4 coach, we get a little bit more in the weeds. But honestly, toss Wilkins or toss Graham, whichever one's more athletic to the end, and you're fine. Point being is, Christian Wilkins, though, missed most of his first season after signing, I forgot how big of a contract this was, a $110 million deal with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
He played about a fourth of the season. Again, not bad-mouthing him. I'm just stating facts here. So not only do you get a guy to either play alongside Wilkins, which, by the way, a pass rusher, Wilkins, Graham, and Crosby, God help the AFC West.
Also underrated in the pass rush is Malcolm Kuntz. So.
Well, he's slated to be a free agent, and reports are that he does not want to come back.
Yeah,
I don't blame him. So I think that they'll, again, they need to help everywhere, but I really struggled to see their fit any other player that made sense at number 6 without them reaching. Just go ahead and say, I already know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say?
You're going to have them taking Ginty, aren't you?
You know me so well. Why'd you ruin the surprise?
It's so quirky. I swear to God, by the way, we have not seen each other's picks.
Yeah, no, but yeah, so obviously you look at last year, Raiders had the number 13 overall pick. There's a lot of questions as far as whether they'll go defense, whether they go offense, what are they going to do? Swung of offenses, they got Brock Bowers, had a fantastic rookie year. If you look at the Raiders rushing attack this year, I predicted Zamir White.
I was about to say, wait, what happened to Zamir White?
Yeah, he was absolutely terrible.
Our
Alexander Madison wasn't good. Amir Abdullah wasn't good. It was just absolutely terrible. So I think here at number 6, they swing for the fences again. They leapfrog any other team that's going to potentially take this guy. A lot of, rumors are prevailing that the Dallas Cowboys will go this direction, but I think they fix that. They go Ashton Jeanty at number 6 overall to take him, the running back out of Boise State. Since 2020, Tad, he will be the second quarterback taken in the top 10 since Bijan Robinson in 2023. So, since 2020, we're not seeing running backs taken in the top 10 here. So, he would be the second running back to do that in case he was taken here by the Las Vegas Raiders. Arguably the most dominant football player in college football last year. Say what you want about Travis Hunter winning the Heisman, but I think this guy was just that much more dominant after seeing what he did at Boise State. We already talked about it. They miss out on Cam Ward. They miss out on Shedeur Sanders, both being drafted ahead of him, ahead of the Raiders in this situation. So I think they go in this direction. You got the guy that, has all the skills that you want at the running back, the speed, the toughness, the agility. Just you name it. This is the prototypical running back that you want. The only thing you worry about, which I'll obviously get to in a later episode, is just the overuse at the college football level. Just is this too much? I'm very curious to see as far as just how that compares to some other running backs, Ezekiel Elliott, obviously look at Derrick Henry, some of those guys. It's I want to dive into that in a future episode here. But yeah, I think the Raiders go big, get that marketing material that you're talking about here, Tad, and they get Ashton Jeanty at number 6.
I don't mind the player. I mind the pick. This reminds me a lot of weirdly when actually the Raiders drafted Brock Bowers, because I was like, where do you have Michael Mayer, which I still stand by of that was a weird pick. I still
stand by too. I remember when they made that pick, I was like, why did they make this pick when they had Michael Mayer?
Falcons with Bijan Robinson. I never said Bijan Robinson wasn't going to be good. I did in fantasy, but I didn't say that when it came to actual production on the field. Which sounds very confusing, but trust me, it makes sense if you followed us. But and this is why I think the Raiders will try to trade down. As long as they stay above the Cowboys, you're good. The Cowboys are the wild card, because I do think the Cowboys are going to try and make a splash this year just to try to be like, we're good, right? That's Jerry Jones's coping mechanism. It's just lights. And I think that splash is going to be Jeanty. How you say it?
It's Jeanty.
Jeanty, damn it. That's going to trip me up all offseason. Anyway, point being is, again, don't mind the player going this team, but I mind where it's happening.
Fair. I can understand that. But it's also just a Raiders move. That's just they're just going to go swinging for the fences in this case.
That's so true.
All right, Ty, let's get to number 7. A team that a lot of people expected to be really good, but they actually ended up being the same as last year, if I remember correctly, even with Aaron Rodgers playing a full season. The New York Jets here at number 7. What do you think they do?
This one was tough for the opposite reason. I was like, you could go so many options here.
It's true.
Where I'm just like, okay, maybe this guy, there are a lot of ways the Jets can ace this pick, and they're still probably going to Jets it. But I think that they should, with the, unsureness, the fog around Aaron Rodgers' future. Because I know all the talk now is they're done. Let's wait till we see this new regime come in, and maybe they sweetheart talk him a little bit. Point being is, I think they'll go with Will Campbell, the offensive tackle / guard to New York, because Morgan Moses is slated to be a free agent. So let's say New York re-signs him. He's still going to be 34 years old by the time next year starts. Tyron Smith may actually retire. I feel like he's going to try to stick it out for one more year. So I feel like his return to New York, that's inevitable. You have Elijah Vera Tucker. So you kind of do the same thing you did with Fashanu last year. I know Jets fans are like, great, offensive lineman, back-to-back years. That's what we need. But you and I talked about this in the last episode. A good way to start building a team in the trenches. So if you draft Will Campbell, who his arm length isn't ideal for an NFL tackle, so you're going to see a lot of scouting reports say kick him into guard. I think he could succeed at either. It's kind of like Quentin Nelson. When people were asking me, like, is he going to be a guard? Is he going to be a center? I'm like, I don't know. He's going to kick ass or whatever he does, though.
Yeah, true.
I really thought he was going to be a center. Point being, though, is I think that this gives them the kind of like, valuable talent that really elevates the team. So I like that pick.
Not bad. Yeah, I think they definitely need to address.
I was confusing number 7 and number 8, but yes, no. So I think that they'll address the quarterback. Honestly, I think Jalen Milroe is an interesting name to keep an eye on round 2 for the Jets. So yeah, I don't think they'll go quarterback though.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't think they go quarterback either. I think they also address the trenches, but I think they address the opposite side of the ball because you have to look at my mock draft. Kelvin Banks is already off the board. So in here, sliding right to him, I think this is like a gift of a pick here. They go Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan here. And so I think he add that. You pair him up with Quinton Williams. Like that's a dominant player pairing right there. With Mason Graham and Quinton Williams coming after opposing quarterbacks and opposing backfields. I mean, that's just scary for all 31 other teams in the NFL. But like you said, I think it's very similar to what we talked about with Tennessee, what we talked about with Jacksonville, what we talked about with Las Vegas, I think is in this boat too. It's just like, they can go in so many directions because they need to address a lot of holes all over their roster. But yeah, I think because he lands here, he's a guy who can play all 3 downs. He's just a ferocious run stopper as well as a pass rusher too. So yeah, like I said, I think the Jets get a gift here. They go with Mason Graham here at number 7 overall.
Could you imagine Mason Graham and Quinton Williams being coached up by Brian Flores? Woo!
That'd be dangerous.
How about this for a throwback? That'd be like Pat and Kevin Williams with.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, this is sort of a different version of Williams. It's Graham and Williams. It's not 2 Williams, but yeah, that would just be insane to think about for sure.
Be dirty.
All right, Tal, let's get to a couple more picks here. We got 3 more. We got the Carolina Panthers here at number 8 overall. What do you think they do?
Okay. This is the name you're really going to have to help me out with, which should spoil who I'm about to say. I purposely did not look it up for comedic purposes, so I'm going to try this legitimately for the first time. Teda Iruo McMillan.
It's just Tetora. Tetora McMillan. Yeah, with all the letters, it seems a lot more confusing, but it's actually
there's so many vowels.
Yeah, it's a little confusing, but it's just Tetora. Tetora McMillan.
What?
Tetora.
You know what? We're gonna call him T-Mac. Get old T-Mac out there. T-Mac reincarnated as a freaking NFL player. Let's do it. The Panther, Bryce Young actually might be good now. So I think the most immediate thing, like, look, yes, that defense is very, very bad, but it's like, you know what? You push that fire down the road. We're just a dog surrounded by the fire. Be like, this is fine. Strengthen up that offense, right? Just get that offense on track. Make sure your, first overall pick is well invested in. Didn't worry about the defense, especially because that makes free agency, free agents want to come over when you actually have an offense that they believe in. Point being, you got to invest in a wide receiver for 2 reasons. One, Adam Thielen has proven that if Bryce Young has a good security blanket to lean on, he can be efficient and drive an offense down the field. 2, Adam Thielen's old. I'm not even sure if he's going to play another season. And if he does, this is probably it. So I think that the Panthers have gotten this. By the way, this is nothing against Xavier Legette. Please tell me I did that right.
Yes, you did.
Oh, thank God. I was debating doing a Cajun accent, but that was a minefield. I'm just, especially after today. Woo! Not a good idea. No. Anyway, point being is Xavier Legette is a great stretch of the field, like number 2 receiver. The Panthers need a future number 1 receiver. You look at the build, Tetora. God damn it. T-Mac he's 6'4", 6'5". I'll be very interested to see his combine measurements. And he had 84 catches and I believe 12 touchdowns for Arizona last year. Those are wide receiver 1 measurements and production.
Finalist for the Blitnikoff Award too.
Exactly. So I think freaking Travis Hunter still won it. But did he not?
He did.
Oh,
that's why I'm shaking my head. Yeah, I should have gone to Nick Nash. Should have gone to Nick Nash.
So yeah, I think they've locked down their future wide receiver and continue to invest in the offense here.
That's fair. That's fair. I do agree with you that it's like they do need to address the wide receiver position, but like you said, that defense was bad last year because you have to remember that they traded away Brian Burns for pretty much next to nothing, very similar to what they did with Christian McCaffrey. So it's like they never replaced him though. So it's like they needed to find a good replacement. Carolina was tied for the third fewest sacks in the NFL generated on defense. So I think here, depending on who falls here, because I think the Jets could go in two directions. In my case, they went with Mason Graham, but I think they also could have taken the guy who's not going to enter the Carolina Panthers, Abdul Carter. So it's like whoever lands there, Abdul Carter or Mason Graham to the Carolina Panthers, they're happy. It addresses the defensive line, addresses some pass rushes there. I think just either way, they're going to get a guy that could just boost up that defensive line for them, get some pass rush, run stopping, whatever it is. The cool thing about Abdul Carter, too, is that he's not just a dominant pass rusher. You could drop him into pass coverage. He's just as dominant as being a stopper through the passing game as well, picking up those routes that come into zone coverage in his direction. He's very good at that as well. But just, yeah, I can understand going receiver here, but I think with the wide receiver class that's still very deep, I think they can address that in later rounds, whereas like you're only going to get an Abdul Carter or possibly a Mason Graham at the very first round. You're not going to get that sort of level of talent in the later rounds compared to receiver, which I think is very... I do agree that there's still a drop-off there, but I think you still find very good talent to pair up with Xavier Legette there. Also, a little bit of a hot take here, but Dave Canales obviously coached with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before he took the Carolina Panthers job. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to entice Chris Godwin to come within division to come play with the Carolina Panthers.
Too brutal. Exactly. Did he not just... I thought he got an extension, though.
No, I think he's a free agent this year, if I remember correctly.
I'll look it up next time we talk. But
yeah, Carolina Panthers, Abdul Carter. That's what I got here.
I will be endlessly impressed with you if you know this question. Do you know the name of the Panthers GM?
Oh, it's Dan Morgan.
You nerd.
Former linebacker. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen here, Dan. I'm sure you're well off, man. Like Merge just said, former linebacker, current GM of an NFL team. I know you got a nice wine cellar. If you get Abdul Carter at number 8, you go into that wine cellar and you pull out the oldest, I say again, oldest bottle of champagne you have. And I don't care if you've never tried it in your life. You do that cool like sword trick where they like cut off the top and you spray that entire draft room. You stay put and get Abdul Carter at 8. Oh my God. Enough said.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get to number 9 here with the New Orleans Saints. What direction do you think they go?
Abdul Carter. So much finesse. Who are we on?
New Orleans Saints at number 9.
Abdul Carter. Sorry. Sorry. The New Orleans Saints. This actually one was tough, and I'm going to explain why. They take another name I'm not too sure about. Nick Skouerton?
That one I'm not sure of. I think it's Skouerton.
I
think so, but I'm not sure about that one.
We'll look it up. The pass rusher out of Texas A&M. Look, I mean, you want to talk about bad pass rush? New Orleans Saints are right there. They only had 38 sacks this year, 19th in the league. And here's where it gets really, really bad. Peyton Turner, former first-round pick out of
Houston, right?
Good job. And, oh, God, I just blanked on his name. Even though he was the second overall pick out of, who might got a name? Defensive end for the Saints.
Cam Jordan, you talking about?
No, God damn it. Cam Jordan went to, where did Cam Jordan go?
Cal? Cam Jordan went to Cal.
Ah, see, I know my stuff. Now, Chase Young and Peyton Turner are both going to be.
Chase Young's a free agent. Yeah.
They're both slated to be free agents. So a bad pass rush is already getting worse. So I don't know which pass rusher it's going to be. That's where I was kind of bouncing back and forth between Michael. Is that how you say it? Or is it just straight up Michael?
I think it's Michael.
Yeah, I think it's Michael too. Yeah. Michael Williams, the outside linebacker out of Georgia. I was between him and Skouerton, and I went Skouerton. There are multiple reasons. We'll get into that later, but I like Skouerton more.
That's fair. That's fair. I have them addressing the wide receiver position here. So this is where I have Tator McMillan, the wide receiver at Arizona, going here. Because, fun fact, Ted, so the starting receivers for the New Orleans Saints this year were Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. That was based on the Week 1 opening day roster. Both players failed to play more than 8 games this season, obviously due to injuries, but still. Here's another fact that just is a little bit outstanding here. No Saints receiver this year played all 17 games this year.
Oh, I 100%.
None of them. All of them got hurt at some point. Some of them got released. It's just like, yeah, it is bad. So they need to add a wide receiver to that room that can hopefully stay healthy for a full 17-game season. You need to give Chris Olave a little bit more firepower on the other side there. You got Rashid Shaheed. That gives you a good trio there if everybody can stay healthy there. So, yeah, I wonder just whether – it's going to be interesting to see who their new head coach is going to be, who their OC is going to be, but I still think they need to address that wide receiver position. They need to get another body in there who could hopefully, like I said, stay healthy the full season. He's a great McMillan's a great route runner, fantastic tracker of the football. He's definitely a mismatch for all opposing cornerbacks there. But yeah, I think they go offense here. But yeah, addressing the pass rush, that wouldn't surprise me either.
And if they're going to go another, position of need other than pass rush, I'd prefer it to be receiver, especially because you look at the Dolphins right now have a very shaky future because what happens if Tua collapses again?
Yeah.
The Saints are low key kind of having the same problem with Chris Olave right now of like, what if he goes down again? So even right now, their number one receiver, and by the way, that's why he keeps getting hurt, is because he should not be used as a number one receiver. It's just their entire receiving core is just on very shaky ground. Honestly, and this is why I'm not surprised by your stat of like no receiver played all 17 games. I've never seen a team of no names out there more since the COVID year, where it was just like, shit, it's the Broncos throwing a receiver out at quarterback. They're like,
yeah, exactly.
Here you go. I remember week 8, week 9, watching the Saints and be like, I don't know who any of these people are. There's Taysom Hill. Oh, he's down.
He got hurt too.
He's down.
It's like, yeah.
So, hard to go wrong with this pick, but yeah, I think either receiver or pass rush, definitely the way to go.
For sure. All right, Tad, let's close out the top 10. We got the Chicago Bears on the clock here at number 10 overall. What direction do you think they go in?
I get the temptation of being cute, and I've seen Genty be mocked here quite a bit. It makes zero sense to me.
Yeah.
But just don't outsmart yourself, right? Caleb Williams showed a lot of promise. If anyone actually watches the Bears, I know a lot of people like on the outside is gonna be like, Caleb Williams actually not that good. No, he's good. He's just running for his life 60% of the time. So you got to invest in that offensive line. Here's where I think Kelvin Banks out of Texas will go. There's a dark horse candidate that could slip in between Banks and Campbell for my number 2 tackle. I'll talk more about that later on. But for now, Banks is still my number 2 tackle. I think the Bears take that, protect your most valuable asset.
100% agree, because I had the same exact pick here, because Chicago had the most sacks on offense last year, Tad, and they had the highest sack percentage in the NFL as well. You need to protect your number 1 overall pick from last year, Caleb Williams. You also need to create those blocking lanes for, like you talked about, they have a good running back there, DeAndre Swift. They also have Roshan Johnson. So I think they don't go. I'm actually surprised that people are mocking Ashton Genty at number 10 overall to the Bears. So that's very interesting to see.
Have you been seeing that too, or am I just like going crazy? Because both are very real possibilities.
So yeah, I'm very curious to see
just
about the mock drafts that you've seen there. So,
I'm the psycho that clicks, page 2 when you search on Google, like NFL mock drafts. Yeah, I'm a page 2 guy.
That's fair. But yeah, I think Kelvin Banks is definitely the answer here. They have to address that offensive line. They have to make sure they're protecting their future franchise quarterback there at Caleb Williams, and just making sure that that's the way their offense can sort of go there. So yeah, Kelvin Banks, Holbrook pick there for sure, number 10.
Okay. What about this though? Because I could realistically see this happening. So I have Will Campbell going number 7. You have him going number 2?
No, I had Will Campbell going number 4. 4 to the Patriots.
Let's say he falls past 4 and 5. Raiders are sitting there at 6. They go, okay, both quarterbacks are gone. We don't really want anyone. Ring, ring. Oh, who is it? It's the Chicago Bears. I almost said New Orleans Saints, although that would also make sense.
They need offensive line help too, because Trevor Penning has not worked out.
Raiders trade back to 10. Bears go up to 6, take Will Campbell. Raiders sit there. They get Genty at 10. That's a masterclass right there.
I can see that happening. If that happens, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's of both worlds. Like, Raiders don't love anyone there. Trade back. They still get the running back they desperately need. Genty at 10. I think that's a great move, because Cowboys pick at 12? No, they're behind us, right?
They pick at 13 or 15 or something like that. Yeah.
Are they between us?
They're in the middle, somewhere.
And for our viewers and listeners, I don't mean it like us as a mean Amir. Your 49ers are picking what, 11?
Right outside the top 10. They're number 11. So I actually kind of wanted to go top 11 just to do a Niners pick.
I was suggesting you go top 14, because if the Colts are taking top 13 or at 13.
No, they're outside of that. I think they're at 15, if I remember correctly.
No, we're not 50. Either way. But point being is, yes, that would be a good move of the Raiders of moving back, because wouldn't shock me. Point being is, it would not shock me if the Bears make an aggressive move for Will Campbell.
Agreed. All right, Ted, really quickly as we close out the episode here, just run through your top 10.
Okay, at number 1, I have the Titans taking Cam Ward. The Browns at number 2 taking Shedeur Sanders. Giants at number 3 taking Travis Hunter. At number 4, the Patriots take Abdul Carter. The Jaguars at number 5 take Will Johnson. The Raiders at number 6 take Mason Graham. The New York Jets take Will Campbell, offensive lineman out of LSU. Carolina Panthers take T-Mac, wide receiver out of Arizona. Number 9, the Saints take Nick Scarton. Sorry in advance. Edge from TAMU. And 10, the Bears take Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle, Texas. And yes, I did type out TAMU in my notes.
Nice. My top 10 will be... My top 10 is the Tennessee Titans take Travis Hunter at number 1 overall. The Cleveland Browns take Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. Number 2 overall, the New York Giants get Shedeur Sanders, quarterback at number 3 overall to the Giants there. New England Patriots, number 4, take Will Campbell. Jacksonville Jaguars at number 5. I also have them taking Will Johnson, quarterback out of Michigan. At number 6, I got the Raiders taking Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State. Number 7, New York Jets take Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Abdul Carter goes to Carolina Panthers at number 8 overall. At number 9, I got Tatori McMillan, wide receiver at Arizona, going to the New Orleans Saints there, number 9. And number 10, I also have Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, going to the Chicago Bears to address that offensive line there. So, guys, that is just a top 10 of the mock draft here. We're getting very early in our draft coverage here. Like we talked about, we're going heavy into draft research now. We'll be doing our Senior Bowl live stream happening on February 1st. Make sure you tune in for that, guys. But yeah, we'll be doing a lot of draft coverage. We're definitely open to suggestions. We're open to people that you want us to scout for you, as far as like, we want to hear more about this guy, or we want to know about what your thoughts about these two guys, or just like comparing things like that. Best way you can do that is you need to interact with us on our social media handles. You got us on Twitter. You got me at UpTheSide23, Tad at TedSide94, got the show handle at The Decide Guys, and of course on Instagram at The Decide Guys as well. So interact with us, hit us up with all your questions, with all of your analysis, anything and everything. We're happy to interact with you on everything when it comes to the college football draft, as well as college football, as well as the NFL playoffs as that's going on. If you're in a dynasty league, we can still give you fantasy advice too, a keeper league, whatever it is, that is where you can hit us up to get all your questions answered. Make sure you subscribe or at least to your podcast, or always up to date with the podcast. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you're always up to date with our videos as well. And please, guys, make sure you're supporting our parent network at LAFB Network, because they're giving you a lot of great content. With the Chargers are no longer in the playoffs, unfortunately, but they're giving you off-season content with the Chargers. Rams have advanced, so they're giving you some postseason coverage with their matchup with the Eagles. So you got that at the NFL level. You got all the transfer portal action stuff with the Trojans and the Bruins at the college football level. And, of course, guys, they also have a great promo shirt on the LAFB Network store, supporting all the proceeds will go to the LAFB, the LA fire departments out there, support all the cause for putting out all the fires out there. So, yeah, go out there, buy a shirt. It'd be a great support for all that. But, Ted, not only are they doing all that stuff, but they're also giving you great coverage when it comes to the NBA and the MLB. So they got your Clippers and Lakers coverage as well. And on top of that, with the MLB season right around the corner, they got your Angels and Dodgers coverage as well. So, guys, lots of great content coming from a lot of great content producers. We appreciate all of them. But, guys, to everybody who's already supporting our podcast by listening to the podcast, watching our videos, interacting with us on social media, and just anything and everything that you do to support the podcast, we really cannot thank you enough.
Free Mike Trout. Free Mike Trout. Cap. Not nice. Cats. He's a Trout fan. He thinks he'll get fish out of it.
Fair. Pretty sure he was a fan of Tim Salmon when he was playing too.
Wait, is that actually a guy?
Yeah, he was actually with the Angels too. He was Tim Salmon.
Gerald Salted Damacchia. That sounds like an Italian seafood dish.
Sounds like an Italian dish for sure.
Oh, Salted Damacchia. Anyway, point being is, if you are one of those believers that the Angels should let Mike Trout walk, or if you are an Angels diehard that says, nope, he should always be an Angel, I kind of understand that as well, even though you guys did steal Albert Pujols from us. But anyway, if you want the best coverage on that debate and more, be sure to check out LAFB wherever you find your podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube as well. Check out our channel, LAFB Network, where you can find awesome stuff. I'm going to test Amir here because he always makes fun of my memory. Amir, where did Miller Moss end up transferring to?
Louisville.
Damn it. But Amir, you know who else knows that?
Our good friend Alfred Rowe. Well, I guess Mike.
Your good friend Alro. You're absolutely right. On the Salute to Troy podcast, which I know we will guest star on several times during draft season. We love to break down, which USC players we think are going to be sleepers, which teams we think they'll fit best with. So we're going to do more specialized USC stuff there, but Al does it every week on Salute to Troy. So be sure to check that out. Amir, you just guest spotted on LA Podfidential, hosted by good friend Chauncey Talese. Chauncey openly admits he knows nothing about talent scouting or anything like that. So he depends on us. So we're likely going to end up on his show talking draft stuff as well. And if you have anything you want us to discuss on our show, be sure to hit us up right there. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube comments. We check them all. So be sure to check that out. But as always, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And please stay safe.